Take one.
All right. I'm Perry Sachs, and it's my pleasure to share with you my love of Jewish humor. The jokes I'm going to tell are some that I consider as true classics. They illustrate many of the distinctive inherent characteristics of Jewish expression, attitude, and reasoning, including chutzpah, pathos, pride, sarcasm, and the tendency to answer a question with a question. In short, a kind of a cockeyed way of looking at things. Now, you may have heard some of them before, but I hope you'll enjoy hearing them again. I consider them my old friends. Okay, the scene is Central Park in the winter, and a mother and her little boy are playing on the pond, which is frozen. And the kid goes out a little too far, the ice is thin, he falls through. Screaming and hollering for help, a young man hears what's going on, comes dashing down, lies flat down on the ice, crawls out slowly, reaches over, pulls the kid out, brings him back to land. The mother comes rushing over and she says, "So where are his mittens?" Then the same mother now has two kids, or maybe a different mother with two kids, Central Park. This is in summertime. The kids are playing in front of the bench. The elderly gentleman comes along and he says, "Well, madam, what lovely children you have there. How old are they?" And she says, "The doctor is 6 and the lawyer is 4. Then there's a story of a little girl who comes into the bakery and she says, "Mr. Baker, you know that loaf of raisin bread you sold to my mama this morning? Well, she found in the raisin bread a fly." The baker says, "All right, so bring back the fly, I'll give you a raisin." Then there's the old classic joke from Fiddler on the Roof, where the beggar comes into the butcher shop with Laser Wolf, begging for alms for the poor. Laser Wolf gives him 5 kopecks. He looks at it, he says, "Laser Wolf, last week you gave me 10 kopecks. Laser says, "I had a bad week." The beggar says, "Just because you had a bad week, why should I suffer?" Now the scene is Tel Aviv. It's a dark, stormy night, and Secret Agent 006.5 is walking along the street with his hat pulled down over his eyes, his coat collar pulled up. He looks around furtively and dashes into a building, goes up to the second floor, knocks on the door. And a young man, a ball, can we come back? Can we stop this?
Just keep going.
I'm screwing this up. Or can you take it out?
I can edit it.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
He runs into this building, goes up to the second floor, knocks on a door. A sleepy, bald-headed man comes out, and 006.5 says, "The oranges are ripe in Valencia." What? "The oranges are ripe in Valencia." He says, "Listen, I'm Horowitz the tailor. You want Horowitz the spy. He's upstairs, 9B. Two Jewish businessmen walking along a dark street in Manhattan. Suddenly, out of the shadows comes a man with a gun, says, "Stick 'em up, give me all your money." So they both pull out their wallets, and Sam says to Jake, "Here's that $100 I owe you."
Oh.
Same two businessmen who are on the train, on the subway, going to work. And Jake says to Sam, he says, "No, Sam, we've been going to work like this every day, every business day, for 5 years. Never once have you asked me how's business." He says, "All right, so how's business?" He says, "Hey, don't ask." Lady walks into is in the furrier. She's buying a fur coat. She's trying on a mink coat. She says to the clerk, "Tell me, sir, will this mink get damaged in the rain?" The clerk says, "Lady, have you ever seen a mink carrying an umbrella?" Man goes to the doctor, trouble with his feet. Doctor says, "You've got to soak your feet twice a day in salt water." So he figures, all right, I'll go to the shore, I'll soak my feet in salt water, and have a good time at the same time. So he's down in Atlantic City, comes out the next morning with his bucket in his hand. He walks up to the lifeguard. He says, "How much do you charge for a bucket of salt water?" Lifeguard thinks he's crazy. He says, "All right, 50 cents. Gives him 50 cents. Takes a bucket of water, goes back to his hotel, soaks his feet. Comes back in the afternoon with a bucket again. Walks up to the lifeguard. By this time, the tide is going out. He says, "Oi, what a wonderful business you did here today." Harry, can you hold this thing up a little bit? No, a little bit. Like that, yeah. Okay. Cohen is in Japan on a business trip. He looks at his calendar and says, "Oh my God, today is Yom Kippur." So he goes down to the hotel clerk. He says, "Tell me, is there somewhere, maybe in the city of Tokyo, perhaps, a synagogue?" The clerk says, synagogue. "Ah, so, yes. Your Reeve Hotel, go left 4 blocks, go left again, 5 blocks, turn left. Banzai is synagogue." So he follows the directions. He gets to the synagogue. All the people are praying. The rabbi is Japanese. All the congregation is Japanese. And after the ceremony, he goes up to the rabbi and says, "That was a wonderful ceremony what you gave today." The rabbi looks at him and says, "You're Jewish?" He says, "Certainly, I'm Abe Cohen from the Bronx." He says, "That very funny. You no look Jewish to me." Well, he's being treated by a psychiatrist. He says to the psychiatrist one morning, he says, "You know, last night I had a dream. I dreamt you were my mother." He says, "So what did you do after that?" He says, "Well, I got up and I had breakfast." He says, "What do you have for breakfast?" "The usual toast and coffee, donut." "You call that a breakfast?" Mrs. Rabinowitz gets a phone call from her doctor. The doctor says, "Mrs. Rabinowitz, you know the check you sent me for my bill, it came back." She says, "Yeah, well, so did my arthritis." A spaceship lands in Central Park. A little spaceman gets out. He's walking down 7th Avenue. He gets to the stage door at Delicatessen. He's fascinated by what he sees in the window. He rushes in. He walks up to the manager. He says, "I want 4 of those wheels that you have in the window for my spaceship." "What do you mean, wheels?" He says, "There are those wheels over there." He says, "They're not wheels. They're bagels. You eat them. Here, taste it." Spaceman takes a bite and says, "Ooh, you know, this would taste good with lox." Jake comes home. He finds his wife in bed with his best friend. He says to him, "Max, I have to, but you?" Jake comes home. He finds his wife in bed with a stranger. He says, "Selma, I've been a good husband to you. I've been true. I've been faithful. I've worked hard. I've given you the best years of my life, and this is the thanks I get." She looks up at him. She says, "Those were the best?"
Oh.
Along that same line, Sam comes home, and he finds Becky crying. She says, oi, Sam, what the doctor told me when I went today. He told me I got tuberculosis. I'm going to die." He says, "What do you mean, tuberculosis, and you're going to die? A big, strong, healthy girl, you've never been sick a day in your life. I'll talk to the doctor." Calls the doctor on the phone. He comes back, says, "Tuberculosis, and you're going to die." He said, "You got too big a tuchus, and you got to go on a diet." Cohen comes home very excited, and he tells his wife, he says, "Guess what I bought today? Guess what I bought today? I bought a pair of pants with an 18-inch zipper in the front." 18-inch zipper. The wife doesn't say. 18-inch zipper. He says, "Sam, our neighbor across the street, he has a 2-car garage. What does he keep in it? A bicycle." Thank you. I hope you appreciate that, and hope I have the opportunity to tell you some more at another date. Thanks again.
Good actor.